All right. So imagine this. Imagine you stumbled upon something that you weren't necessarily in that moment aware of that could alter your life, alter the course of your life. We do this every day, but we don't understand it. We feel like we understand it, but we really don't. It's something that requires a deeper look, deeper reading, reading between the lines, breaking up words, and all the sorts. It's a rabbit hole. And guys, I have surely fallen down it. Because at this point in my life, I realize that everything that I've learned, or everything I felt I have learned, or the information that I have downloaded, and how I do feel that while I am in the position to help a lot of people, I also have my own blockages and my own trials and tribulations, just as you. But at the same time, the way that I came to these interesting insights, I'm not going to call them conclusions because I don't really believe there are such things as conclusions. In fact, humanity itself is really obsessed with trying to defeat conclusions, try to get rid of the fear of a conclusion, right? And I'm not really sure exactly where I'm going with this, but it's that fear of you don't really know where you're going to be. But life is like that, anyways. Life is really you driving and you can't see that far ahead of you. You're driving in the dark, but you can't see that far ahead of you because we haven't created headlights that can reach out that far. You know, you can't see that far into the future. But at the same time, there's something called vision and being a visionary. And to take the intuitions and the feelings that you have in the moment, combining those with efforts in the physical dimension as to create something that didn't already exist. So isn't that the true magic? You see, a lot of people, they think that magic is something that doesn't exist. They believe it's synonymous with unrealistic fantasies, ideas. But you see, I love the fantasy. I love magic. I love all of that stuff. It makes for a very interesting story. And those were the my favorite books, growing up. Just the ones that could sort of bend my mind and to think differently. It's like, wow, I never really thought about doing that before. Or I never really thought about putting that there, or how these characters mesh together with this story, and how these magical systems are very unique and complex, and wow, they are just all connected. And that's the sort of rants my mind would go on. In many ways, I find that my mind runs 1,000 miles per second. It can be kind of unnerving too, especially when you have what I feel, because I have a lot of interesting creative ideas and they come in to me so frequent. I feel like I'm very much in tune to the artistic energies of our earthly plane and the universe. And I'm sure many of you are also tethered to your particular energies and what you are particularly invested in. And the more and more you really invest yourself in these energies, the more and more ideas will just pop into your head. And at this point, I've realized that you can have 1,000 ideas, but if you don't do anything in the 3D, you're not going to manifest it. You're not going to become the grand magician of your life. And this is the difficult part. You see, asking is easy, wishing is easy. Having the dream is actually very easy. Becoming lucid in that dream is difficult, but then at the same time, you still have to wake up and do what it is that you're going to do. Almost treat life as if it's a dream, and then go lucid in it. Because if you really think about it, life is a dream. What if we are really just dreaming all this? Or what if we are watching some super immersive high def movie in another dimension, but then we have the perception of being in 3D, but we're not actually here. We're here, but we're not here. And we choose this particular body for some reason to come to. We have to have some sort of connection to it. So if you treat your life as a dream and you go lucid in it, then you will see that you can create what you want. You know, instead of just having the dream, you'll obtain it. It won't even be a dream at that point because it'll be your life. One of my goals, one of the things that drives me, and I just came to this. It was something I was aware of. It was in my intuition because it came out of me. But at the same time, I was made more aware of it today, and I was made more knowledgeable about it today. So one of the things that really drives me, one of the forces that drives me to create and do what I do, is this very idea of what if after this life, you know, we go back and look at this movie and we ask ourselves, am I proud of this? You know? And what if you've lived this same existence? I mean, let's just go ahead and I know seems kind of weird and mad scientist kind of thoughts, but let's go ahead and just entertain this. What if you've lived this particular life multiple times? What if this is like the 10th time you've lived this particular life? As this incarnation, what if you've gone back and visited this? Because we say you only live once, and maybe Jamal Pope only lives once, but who says it can't be simulated more than once, right? Simulation is a little bit different. So if you really attach on to simulation theory, um, which pretty much states that, there is a higher dimensional species that is running simulations on their ancestors or their particular strains coming down the line. And they do this to gain deeper intuitions about who they were as to probably create a better future for themselves and whatever problem that they are probably facing in their dimension. Because we have to assume that if we have obstacles in the 3D, we have to have obstacles in the 5D and the 6D and all the way up the chain. We have to assume that, but we also know that the farther you go up the chain, the more awareness you have that these aren't necessarily obstacles, they're actually chances for you to grow more, further. So let's just assume that this is a simulation. Let's assume that this is your 5th time that you have lived this particular life as your particular name. And let's say that a lot of the variables are even the same as to where you were born and all of this stuff. A lot of the variables were the same. But there are some critical juncture points. Now, your life changes every day, but it changes also huge in every 5 years and every 10 years. 5 and 10 are very important numbers. And if we just look at the numerology, if we just really look at history and what math has done for us, 0, 5, and 10 are very, very important numbers. And I'll probably, of course, make other recordings about, you know, numerology and more in depth into it. But let's just assume that this is your 5th time. So we can view this as one of two things. If it's 5, we can always view it as 0 going down into 5 and then coming back up into 10. Now, I'm saying it's kind of weird. Think of it like a hill, so to speak. Or we could literally think of it as going all the way up. Maybe if this is the 5th time you've done this, then if you feel like you're at the bottom, then know that you're about to be on the come up. And if you feel like you're in the middle, know that you're about to go up even further. Just think about that. And if you feel like you might be going down, realize that there is also another hill on the other side, and you can see that reflection. You can see that even if you might perceive things might change for you, if you're worried, if you have that fear, don't go into the bottom of that hill with that fear, because if you do that, you'll hurt yourself. You'll emotionally scar yourself and you won't even realize it. We think that a lot of times that it's people that emotionally hurt us, but truthfully, it's we do it to ourselves. And we are responding to what other people are saying. A lot of it's communication error. A lot of it is simply communication error. If you really think about it, with the word and when with language, it's really evolved humanity. Before there was word, there were, I guess you would say, grunts and body motions and stuff of that nature, and nature's music, and then as things progressed along and you have music, and you have dancing. So communication is more than just words, but words have done a lot. Words have done a lot of good and they've done a lot of harm. We have to realize that while we are living in this 3D sphere, you think about it, it's our Earth, and we are also the Earth as well in many ways. And then if you look at the chakra system, the 7 chakras, you will see that is the heart chakra that is associated with green. When you think of green, you think of the Earth. It's also water, but then think about what's right above it. Blue. You have the sky, which is supposedly a reflection of the water. And now just think about this. Supposedly the reason why the sky is blue is because it's reflecting. Probably not only the water, but probably also other energies and radio waves. And I'm not a scientist, but whatever else is coming into the atmosphere. I know a general basis knowledge of it to where I don't think I'll sound like a complete and total moronic idiot. But let's just entertain these ideas because they're interesting, right? I mean, if the sky is blue, why is the sky blue over areas where there is no water? I mean, that happens, right? I mean, I'm sure some scientists can come in and probably clarify why that is. Someone who's into physics, and I'm not even sure which one it is, but let's entertain the idea that perhaps we are walking through an invisible ocean. And we are walking through an invisible ocean of energies. They're going through your body at this very, very moment right now. There's energy that's going through your body that is billions upon billions upon billions of years old, coming from star systems that the distance would completely just make you go mad. And you will melt. Your brain will melt. It's going through you right now. So you are everything. You have all these energies inside of you. And really, what this comes down to, this sort of rambly, just critical thinking, critical deep thinking, and just entertaining. Because we have to understand that this entertainment, who's to say it can't actually happen? We like to really fantasize and come up with all these great things of what humanity could do or what could happen to humanity. Who's to say this stuff hasn't already happened? And we're just living it forwards and backwards at the same time. Who's to say? But I mean, if you think about that, humanity, we've come very far. I mean, I don't want you guys to get down about yourselves and wow, this is pretty interesting. And are we really capable of all this stuff? I mean, history has shown that humans are capable of great, great evils, what we would perceive as evils, and we're also capable of great, great, just truths, being good, being a good person, and having this faith that no matter what happens, we can get through something. It's that perseverance. Humans are a very perseverant species. We are very, very stubborn too. But as I've said before in past videos, that stubbornness is what's allowed us to get this far. So let's be stubborn in the sense that we're not going to let the worst of us bring down the best of us. And when I say us, I'm not saying that any particular one person is on either side. I'm saying that we each within ourselves have what we would perceive as shadows and what we would perceive as light. When you go into these shadows, you gather these negative emotions. Now, if you have a negative emotion, it's not wrong. It's signaling something. And if you go into that negative emotion with unconditional love, in which your inner light shining brightly, it'll actually show you what it was really trying to teach you. And you will be a lot happier. You will be a lot more fulfilled. You'll understand more. You'll have more awareness. You'll feel more at home. Not only with yourself, but no matter where you go, the people around you. No matter how far you go, you'll be able to connect because you're able to connect with yourself. And connecting with yourself is so very important. Humanity, we've done this before. Okay, let's just go ahead and entertain the idea. Humanity, we've done this before. And perhaps there were times where we destroyed the Earth. Perhaps there were. But at the same time, if we keep coming back, there must be something about the humanity strain inherently that is very, very, very interesting. And I know that there are, I talk a lot about these metaphorical, I guess, eloquent spiritual concepts about coming from other planets and other alien strains and the Pleiadians and star seeds and all this great stuff, which I believe we all are. But what is it about humanity that's just so, excuse me, damn interesting? What is it? I really think it is that drive to create and never give up. Now, if we can apply this to constructive energies, I think we are in for an incredible ride because we haven't reached the end of it yet. We're not done yet. We aren't. Science is not over. Art's not over. All of these things are not over, and they probably honestly never will be over. And I guess eventually humanity is going to have to come to a point where we're going to have to be fulfilled and satisfied with our accomplishments and our achievements. But this is not a time to be upset about the bad stuff that's held us back. This is a time to reflect on it. This is a time to look at it for what it was, the truths that were in that, and to also celebrate the immense amount of gifts that are being bestowed upon us right now. There are so many, there is so much beautiful energy coming into this world right now. And just if you can really just latch onto that, you'll be able to ride out this kind of scary wave that we're going through because it can be kind of scary. I mean, it can be, but really, I'm riding this wave of ascension. I'm riding this wave of we can do this, and we have. I believe that both. We probably haven't done it and we have done it. But I'm going to attach myself to the we have because that sounds like a better story to live out. But I think that just about does it for this nice kind of rambly podcast. Just getting into the moment and having some good old fashioned critical thinking, philosophy fun. Anyways, I hope you all have a lovely, lovely day. And of course, remember to find the gold in this moment, for that is all that exists. And I know that you already have found the gold because you do exist. Y'all have a very lovely evening. Peace, guys.